This is the forecasting example, and we're going to cover the naive moving average and weighted moving average. Usually we're given a set of data, which is the time period and the actual demand. You cannot do forecasting if you don't have historical data, and that's time series forecasting. So here we're given 10 months worth of actual demand, past demand, and we're asked to forecast the next period demand. So if we're doing naive, we're being asking for November, of course, forecast. And so if we're using the naive technique and we want to forecast November, for November, the forecast F for forecast for November is going to be equal to the A for actual demand of the previous period, which is October. So that would be 90. So as if we're saying whatever happened last period is whatever is going to happen next period. So simply 90 is the forecast for November. So if this is November, the forecast for November is 90. So if you want it in terms of formula, Ft is equal to At minus 1. But it may be easier to remember it this way. Okay, a lot of companies would use the naive forecast, but may add or subtract a certain percentage to the previous period, depending on what they think is going to happen with the economy or the environment. But that's naive forecasting. So here is the forecast for November. We cannot do another period forecasting until November materializes, until actual demand for November materializes, and then we can forecast December, and so on. So let's do moving average. Moving average, the way moving average works is one period at a time. So again, like naive, we have to pick a period. So if we say we want 3-period moving average, it means we're going to have to go 3 periods in the past and average them out. So that's these 3 periods in the past and average them out. So we're going to take 90 plus 110 plus 130 and divide by 3. So October, September, August, the most immediate 3 periods, and average them out. And that's where you would get 110 with the 3-period moving average. That's again the forecast for November. So a naive forecast gave you 90. A 3-period moving average gave you 110. And that's normal because forecasting, there is no 100% accurate solution. Every forecasting technique will give you a different solution. So 110, and that's the formula would be in your book if you want a formula for moving average. If we wanted a 5-period moving average, so instead of averaging only 3 periods, we want 5 periods, to average 5 periods, and those would be the most immediate 5 periods to forecast November. Then I have to pick 5 periods, 90, 110, 130, plus go backwards even 2 more, July and June, that's 75, 50, and now divide by 5, and so the answer would give you 91. Again, a different answer. So that's a moving average. How about weighted moving average? Weighted moving average means we have to add weights. The weights in moving average are equal. What's the weights for moving average, 3-period moving average? The weights are equal. The weights are 1/3, 1/3, 1/3, equal. What's the weights for a 5-period moving average? They're all equal. They're 1/5, 1/5, 1/5 equal. A weighted moving average, again, would take a period. So let's say 3-period weighted moving average. The assumption is use different weights, not equal. The weights will be given to you. So all you have to do is use them. And so in terms of deriving them, that's a bit too advanced. People spend a lot of time and use optimal techniques to derive these weights. But for the case of this chapter, they will be given to you. So in this example, we're using weight 1 is equal to 0.17, weight 2 is equal to 0.33, and weight 3 is equal to 0.5. It's given at the top of your example. The weights, of course, have to add up to 1. So the sum of the weights has to be equal to 1. Now, you have to pay attention to which weight do you apply for the most recent observation. This weight, for example, is for the most recent observation. The one before it is for the middle observation, and this is for the oldest observation. So always pay attention which weight is for which observation. So if I want to apply now the weighted moving average, 3-period weighted moving average, to forecast November for this example by applying these weights that were given to me, then I will come and do it this way. I will say weighted moving average for period 3 is going to be equal to the most recent observation gets a weight of 0.5, so 0.5 times 90, which is October, plus the second one has a weight of 0.33 times, and that's September, 110, plus the oldest observation is August, and that's 130. The weight is 0.17 times 130. And that's it. The weight, I don't go and divide by 3. Because the weight is already a decimal. And so if you divide by 3, you will end up with a very, very small number. The reason with the regular moving average you divided by 3 is each weight was 1/3, 1/3, 1/3. You could have used 0.33 times 90, 0.33 times 110, 0.33 times 130. But we didn't do that. So if you do that, then you get a forecast of 103.4. Again, a different number. So we ended up with 4 different forecasts for November. Which one do we choose? That's the error analysis that we will learn to do in a minute here. But first, these are the 3 techniques with naive moving average and weighted moving average. These techniques will only predict 1 period at a time, and so you cannot go, like I said, to December or to January until the period before it materializes the actual demand, so we have to stop here. But what you can do is you can go backwards in order to do error analysis, which I will show in a minute. You have to go backwards as much as you can and calculate what the forecasts would have been. So for example, let's pick the 3-month moving average, for example, and let's do a 3-month moving average. 3-month moving average forecast. How early could I calculate a 3-month moving average? Well, I need at least 3 actual demands to calculate a 3-month moving average. So the earliest I can start is period 4. I can take the 120, 90, 100, add them up, and divide by 3. And so the forecast if I were to calculate it for April, would have been 103.3 by taking the 120, 90, 100 divided by 3. Now, this is calculated, so we'll put it on the side, 90 plus 100 divided by 3. Now, if I come and calculate the forecast, what the forecast for May would have been, since this is a moving average, I need to calculate the most recent 3 observations. This is why it's called moving, so I take these 3 now, 1, 2, and 3, and drop the oldest observation, and so I take 90 plus 100 plus 75, and now divide by 3 and get 88.3. So that's these 3 observations, and so on. So you continue calculating the forecast by dropping the oldest observation, adding the newest, and this is how you get all the forecasts that are in your example. Again, in Excel, this is pretty straightforward, because once you put the calculations, once you put the formula, the right formula here, average, and you put this range, then you can copy the formula all the way down and you get the correct answer. So let me see, I missed a number here. This number should have been 85.3. So and then 105, and then the 110. Then now it matches the example in your book. In the example, on Blackboard, I also did a 5-month moving average and a 3-month weighted moving average, exactly the same way. The question you have to ask is, how early can I start? For the 5 months moving average, the earliest you can start is June, because you have to wait until 5 periods pass. For the 3-period weighted moving average, you can start in April. Doesn't matter weighted or not weighted, you can still start in April. So that's how we calculate the naive moving average and weighted moving average examples.